Microsoft has announced new feature called Recall that's coming to Windows 11 that's going to capture everything you do, and of course the internet has exploded. So why not do a video about that and talk about it? Is this something we need to worry about, or is this not a big deal? Let's do that today. So what is Windows Recall? Well, it's a feature that's coming to a new version of Windows 11, and it's going to keep track of everything you do on the computer, create an index of it, and allow you to use generative AI to find things you did or you looked at. It's going to take screenshots of everything you've been doing. It's going to OCR, grab text, basically know everything that's been going on in order for you to be able to think of something you did in the past, type it in a search, and bam, you get back to what you were thinking of. It sounds pretty amazing, actually. But the problem people have is with how invasive the application is. Basically, people saying you're gonna have no privacy, it's gonna know everything you did, and it's capturing all your information, and how can anything be private, and this is gonna be a gold mine for investigators when they get somebody's computer, and all those things. And I can understand why people getting a little bit upset. However, it's just a feature that you could turn on or off however way you want to. If you don't want to have it, there's going to be a checkbox. You say, I don't want to use it. You turn it off and it's not going to do it. That's it. Problem solved. It's not a big deal. You don't need to freak out. Microsoft isn't going to be watching everything you do. I mean, they're already doing it anyway, but they're not going to do any more than what they're already doing. You're just going to uncheck the checkbox, says you don't want to use it, and that'll be it. So there is no need to freak out. However, there are a couple of situations that are points of concern, and we should address them. And first, and the biggest problem is working from home. When you're working from home, you're working with sensitive documents, sensitive information, and if Windows Recall is going to be taking screenshots of what you do, it's going to take screenshots of those sensitive documents. Like we work in Relativity. As soon as I log into Relativity and I start looking at documents, those documents will be screenshotted, OCR'd, indexed, and they'll be part of a Windows Recall. And that creates major problems. I mean, your computer doesn't follow same security requirements your Office computer does. There are no restrictions on same password length, local encryption, or anything like that. I'm sure Microsoft will say everything's encrypted and protected, but it's still not the same level of protection that your work computer is. And we actually don't know how granular the controls of this tool is going to be. You know, maybe you'll be able to turn on some kind of exclusion for certain applications or certain websites. But if you are looking to use Recall and you are working from home, then this is definitely area of concern, and you really want to be careful not to capture any kind of sensitive material that could potentially be stored on your computer. And exactly how it's going to be better in the future, you just don't know. You don't know what it's going to turn into, so you really want to avoid having work documents on your home computer. And the next problem for Recall is shared computer access. It is pretty easy to create accounts for every member of the family, but a lot of people do share accounts. So for example, my wife may be using computer for work, but then when she's done, one of my kids might be using it to do homework. Sometimes she'll use another computer, sometimes she'll use her computer. So accounts on home computers are shared. And if you have Windows Recall turned on, you'll be capturing information from different sort of unrelated areas. And so, and again, with the browsing history, you'll be looking at different people's browsing history and what they're looking at. And so when you're trying to search for something that you wanted to find from some time back, your results may be weird because you might get to websites that somebody else has been browsing. And that is kind of a concern, not necessarily of a privacy matter, but just being confusing, like you're getting these weird results. And with privacy, of course, too. But let's talk about that separately. The thing about privacy is you may want to use Windows Recall, but there might be some things you don't want to go in the history. So maybe you're doing, I don't know, banking or something like that. You don't want your account numbers, or you're filling out your taxes. You don't want that information to be captured. So you may want to turn Recall off for certain periods of time. But most likely how it's going to work is you're going to start doing something, you're going to go, oh, wait a minute, I have to turn it off. And you go back and you turn it off, but you already kind of started using it. And what you may want to do is go back and kind of clear the history. And the thing about clearing history is, you know, anything that happened on the computer and been captured, it's really hard to get rid of, which is something Apple users recently learned when iPhone restored all the pictures. What happened was, if you took a picture, it goes to your library, but then if you use that picture to, let's say, put it on your home screen or do something like that, the copy of the picture would be saved separately, so there would be two copies. So when you delete it from your library, that copy would be deleted, but there would be another copy floating around. So point is, if something has been captured, you know, it's probably going to be lingering somewhere, no matter how much effort you put in trying to delete it. It'll get synchronized to the cloud or something like that. And if they're going to have a feature for like incognito mode like Chrome had, well, you know how effective that was, because we learned that incognito mode wasn't as private as we were thinking it was. So we kind of in the same situation, right? If you turn the privacy mode on, is it really private? If you capture something and delete it from a history, is it really deleted? So those are the things we need to be thinking about when using Recall or having it on at all. And the last thing to think about here is integration with other apps. Will there be other apps that are able to access your Recall history? Is there going to be an official integration, or maybe there's going to be a way for other apps to kind of hack into and access that data? You know, will the data be just encrypted with your Windows credentials, or there's going to be something else? So if there are going to be other apps tapped into it, well, you're opening up your data to a whole new set of problems. And that's something we're going to deal with if that actually happens. So what I think overall is, if you get a computer or you install a new version of Windows and you turn Recall off, it's going to be off and you're probably going to be fine. The problems are going to be if you want to use it at certain periods of time. You may want to use it during your normal browsing activities, but you may not want to use it when working from home. That is the situation where it's probably going to be a problem. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, and I will see you on another video.